Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a plan with me for the week of April 17th through the 23rd, 2023 using my B5 Archer&Olive notebook. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. Here we are in my B5 Archer&Olive notebook. Similarly to last week, we're going to be going with a vertical layout for this week's spread. I am going to be using this stencil from the Crafter's Workshop, and I'll be pairing that with this stamp set from Elle Studio, specifically the week number stamp. I will be using these number stamps from HeidiSwapp, and I'll be using the April month stamp from this set from PaperPerson. Just like last week, I'm going with a rainbow situation, and so I'll be using all of these different distressed oxides as well as my black VersaFine ink. So I absolutely loved the way that my spread came out last week, and I just felt very inspired to continue planning. So last week's spread, this week's spread, and next week's spread were all actually filmed on the same day, and you're going to see that they all are very similar in the vibe that I went with. Similar to last week, I'm basically going to lay down this stencil on the top part of the left and right pages of this spread, and my goal is to basically use 3 different color distress oxides on the left page and then 3 different distressed oxides on the right page. I am kind of having this stencil kind of go off the page on the top and to the left, which is a little bit different from last week, but again, going to go with this kind of rainbow situation where we have the colors kind of fading into one another. And because I do separate this spread into 3 columns on the left and 3 columns on the right, technically each column should have its own color. So that's kind of how I determined where to layer each color. I was using the columns that I had set up for myself for where I'm going to put the lines to separate each day of the week using my micron later in this plan with me. So if you're wondering kind of how I determined how to space things out, I basically separated each page into thirds and kind of used that to guide me with the stencil. So as you can see, we started out with pink, then went into orange, and now we're going into yellow. The difficult thing about this was that the stencil, I wanted to have it be continuous from one page to the next. I didn't want there to be any separation with me moving from one page to the other. So I did try to use a little bit of yellow kind of over the seam that separates the left and right pages from each other. In the end, think that I got away with it, but it was kind of difficult. And so I did kind of cut forward here, and I think I do that a lot in this plan with me. I already laid down the stencil on the right-hand page of the spread, just for ease of not having this video drag on too much. And as you can see, I kind of layered a little bit of yellow on the right hand page of the spread, again to get that nice fading effect. And now I'm going in with the green and trying to kind of connect it all together. Once I'm done with the green color, you're going to see me move into the blue, but again I'm going back in with my yellow, trying to make sure this is fading really nicely. I have to say I've been struggling a little bit with the green because of the fact that the brush that I'm using to put on these distress oxides, I used my green brush for a very, very bright colored green distress oxide that I had, and so it's kind of peeking through even though I'm putting down twisted citron on top of it. I probably should get more of these brushes. That way I can have one for each specific Distress Oxide that I own. Lastly, for this little rainbow effect, I'm going in with the shaded lilac. And then I am going to bring in my blue once again to make sure that I'm fading those colors into each other nicely. Once I peel off this stencil, I'm going to go in with these number stamps from HeidiSwapp. I'm basically obsessed with this stamp set. I had been eyeing it for quite a while, but I was a little hesitant about it because I couldn't tell how big each stamp was. And curiosity ended up winning over. I ended up eventually ordering this set. The numbers were a little bit bigger than I was anticipating, but I'm actually loving them. I think they work really well in this B5 size notebook, and I love that there's a variety of fonts being used. It just helps to add a little bit of interest when I'm doing a more simple layout. Similarly to last week, I am separating Saturday and Sunday with one column but splitting it in half. And then in the bottom left corner, I'm putting both the month as well as the week of the year that it is. That's a little bit different from last week. Love the way that this came out, though I wish I would have put a little bit of that stencil behind it. Now that I have the month and the week of the year, the last thing that we have to do is just put in the lines to separate each day of the week with my micron in 08. I really like the way that this came out. Similarly to last week, after laying down the numbers, I decided against days of the week stamps just because I felt like it looked kind of complete the way it was. And I'm not upset that I made that decision. I love the way this came out. I feel like it's so, so fun. And again, I was just so inspired with using these rainbow colors and using new stencils. And I hope you all enjoyed this plan with me. As always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.